Now, have you heard what Mrs. Clinton has said? Hillary Clinton has begged, stop and think of this now. Here is the presumed Democrat frontrunner. She called on Silicon Valley, high-tech companies in Silicon Valley, to work at disrupting ISIS. She said this in a speech yesterday. Anyway, so here is Mrs. Clinton hoping to achieve the job of most powerful leader in the world, asking Silicon Valley high-tech companies to disrupt ISIS. Does anybody know what she really means? Do you know what she's actually advocating here? Well, ever since Edward Snowden, pressure has been brought to bear on the NSA to eliminate the scooping up of all this telephone metadata. And there have been, law enforcement is leaning on the government to lean on Apple to relax all of their encryption. Apple will not. Apple has been for a number of years now, and is only increasing this, by the way, as a sales weapon, as ammo in their sales. They are touting the degree of user privacy they build into their devices. And they routinely explain it in support documents on their website if you care to find out. For example, the Apple messaging system called iMessage, it's the blue bubbles on your iPhone. Those are encrypted, user and sender. The only people who can read those messages are you and the person you send them to. You don't see all the encryption taking place, but it's deep. And if you happen to be a criminal and law enforcement gets hold of your phone, they can't decrypt your iMessages. They have asked Apple to create a back door that would allow law enforcement and to decrypt those things so that they could find out if criminal activity has been discussed, has been conducted, or whatever. And it's not just the messaging app. The entire Apple iOS system is highly secure. And Apple is refusing to participate because they have been so public in sales literature and sales promotion in the security of their devices and their operating system. And I don't think I've told you this, but way back in the 90s when Jim Kallstrom was running a New York office of the FBI, he called and asked for my support in the premise that law enforcement needs to be able to read emails. Back then, that's all it was. There was no instant messaging. There wasn't, AOM hadn't come along in a while. AIMA, instant messaging, was still a ways off. Email was all there was, and it was new, and it was frightening the FBI. There was no way to tap it like they could tap phone calls. And the FBI was, even back in the 90s, was making an effort for legislation to be able to tap email traffic and so forth. And he called me and asked me if I could get his support on the air for something like that. And nothing ever really came of it, as far as I know. But the point is, it's only gotten more intense now. There's an actual story, an actual event of a crime taking place, and the perp has an iPhone, and nobody will decrypt it for law enforcement. Apple won't, and the government won't force them to, and law enforcement's at their wits' end over it. So Hillary is actually trying to put pressure on Silicon Valley companies here to do less encryption to enable the government to more easily spy on you, is what she's advocating. That's what Hillary Clinton's plea for Silicon Valley to disrupt ISIS basically means. Would you free up the encryption, or at least give us the keys so that we can spy and read the messages of people we think are engaging in criminal activity? And whoever else, whoever else we want to. And this is not a commercial for Apple. Don't misunderstand. This is the
law enforcement, NSA, do you know NSA as of 4 days ago is no longer able to collect metadata? In fact, do you know what metadata is? Metadata is everything but the content of the call. The metadata is your number, the number that you called, or the number that called you, and in some cases, the geographical location and the length of the call. That's it. That's what the NSA was swooping up left and right. By itself, it's worthless. And it's not usable in a predictive way. The value of metadata was to be able to put together the chain of events after an event had happened. But since Snowden came along, all the pressure has been brought to bear, and the NSA supposedly, as of 4 days ago, is no longer collecting metadata because they can't. It's actually longer than 4 days ago. I think here's the crux of the story is that the NSA is not permitted now to go get the metadata of the phone activity of the San Bernardino 2. They're not legally empowered to get it from whoever their cell carriers were. Pfizer, the FISA court, no, apparently not. Such is the story. Apparently they're frozen. They can't go get this data because it's now illegal to have it since it wasn't renewed by Congress. Now, a lot of people don't believe it was just the metadata. You know, I have friends who think, you're just crazy, Rush. They're listening in. They're listening on and everybody. I got friends that turn location services off on their phones thinking, I tell all my friends, do you realize the government doesn't even know you exist? They couldn't care less what you're doing. Turn on your locations. So don't you care in the past where your pictures were taken? I know where they were taken. I don't need my phone to tell me. You know, I try to sell them on the virtues of location services, what all the phone can do for you. I don't care. I don't want to know where I'm doing. I don't know where I am, where I'm going, or where I've been. So, do you really think they care? Well, yeah. Why? Because I'm important. I'm an American citizen. They're spying on everybody. I don't care. And I said, besides, they know anyway. You dolt. Your phone's got a GPS chip in it. They know where you are, whether you've got your location services turned on or not. So you may as well enjoy it. No, I do not want them to. So everybody thinks they're being spied on. Everybody thinks the government cares deeply about who they're having sex with, what they're eating, how many people they're having sex with, where they're having sex with, how many. They're just obsessed with it, and they don't want anybody to know what's going on. So Snowden came along and basically confirmed that in people's minds. So Apple is capitalizing on this. We will protect your data. Nobody is going to be allowed in. Apple is saying we don't even have the ability to decrypt iMessage traffic between our users. We did not build in the ability for us to follow it. That's what they maintain. There is no way to decrypt that traffic. So Hillary is imploring them to do it. Hillary is imploring them to change. That's what, and Obama and any of the others in government asking for Silicon Valley to help.